Now, I've said this once and I'll say it again, but I don't know what's worse for Netflix and Meghan Markle. The fact that critics that once actually praised and loved Season 1 of With Love, Meghan are now turning their back against Season 2, or the fact that this is the biggest ratings disaster period for Netflix in a very, very long time, if not the worst in history for Netflix. And when you're looking at those out there like Greg Peters and Ted Sarandos, the producers, the executives, the board, the last thing that you would think you would want to do is to actually hand over a lot of one-off projects to Meghan Markle. We know that Greg is against it, but Ted is all for it. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about Meghan Markle right now is that we know that she is not only in damage control mode, but she's also in double down mode when it comes to her overall agenda, when it comes to how she is trying to defend her show at all costs. And one other aspect about all of this is that we know that she's not taking the ratings disaster well at all, nor is she taking the negative reviews out there well at all. And she's really going against the critics time and time again by going on multiple temper tantrums and all these different rants and tirades that's just really not doing anything beneficial for Netflix and for herself, quite frankly. Now, what's interesting here has a lot more to do with what Meghan Markle had to say about the ratings disaster, the negative reviews, her emotions, her overall behavior toward all of that, and how it's really beginning to go in a downward spiral for Netflix. And I'm sure that Ted is regretting his decision in one way, shape, or form after approving all these one-off projects down the road, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Now, what's interesting here is that, of course, with Meghan Markle still coping with the ratings disaster known as With Love, Meghan Season 2 and hitting back at critics and those calling her out, one significant development now involves more to do with Meghan Markle going on another rant about her ratings failure with Season 2. Now, Meghan recently delivered the following. Looking at what we created and to see so many people out there just outright reject something so magical is not only heartbreaking, but it literally brings me to tears just thinking about that and knowing the fact that there are so many self-centered people out there that don't give someone like me a chance. Someone who is very creative in the arts and with storytelling, and just for the effort, I think I do deserve respect. The culture that we live in right now, sadly, is all driven by social media, and along with that, you are always going to get naive criticism. But when I saw the numbers, when I saw the reactions for Season 2, all I could do is cry to myself. And sometimes, you know, it can be hard holding back tears, because you want to be strong, you want to be a strong woman. But I think I will feel stronger after this, for sure. Like I said, I'm not going anywhere, and I hope this experience only makes me learn better from my other projects with Netflix that we are actively discussing right now and attempting to create. The one thing that many tend to forget is that there is a silent majority out there that is so afraid to speak up and to stand up for what's right and to share their thoughts about my series. And so you are only seeing the negative. That's the greatest explanation of all. That's the growing issues that we are dealing with, not just with a rise in criticism, but a suppression of positivity, and those that are afraid to reveal themselves, that the critics only to be name-called. I can only imagine what they are going through right now, because it just makes me so emotional to think that someone would have to hold back their thoughts just to be safe and to protect themselves from vocal attacks. This is America after all, and we shouldn't be afraid, and so I ask for the silent majority out there to please come forward and to display your thoughts about what we put together here at Netflix. I will stay, of course, here for as long as I can, and I will say that I'm a strong woman of color for sure, but there are times like now where I just can't beat those emotions that bring me to tears and how I just get so sad on how to deal with failure. Now guys, let me just stop here about Meghan Markle. Now look, she's kind of going on this emotional word salad that's really making no sense at all, but we know one thing for sure is that the blame game or the scapegoat here, the way for her to actually just point the finger is there's a silent majority out there, guys. That's why you're only seeing negativity out there, is that the positivity is being suppressed. People are just remaining quiet. They're not sharing their reviews. They're not sharing their overall thoughts about season 2. And we've seen a lot of, creators, we've seen a lot of personalities and celebrities use this as a scapegoat. I mean, Meghan did this with season 1. We know that Leslie Headland of the Star Wars series known as The Acolyte, back in June of 2024, did the same exact thing. We saw Disney CEO Bob Iger do this as well with the movie The Marvels. It's the same exact thing, and I think a lot of personalities or celebrities just parrot each other to use that as an easy scapegoat to convince the public or the audience or whoever may be listening or watching them at the time to really just convince them that, yeah, there's just no negativity out there. It just seems like that because the positivity is just silent. Hence the silent majority, right? That's all they have to say at this point, and that's their only way out to really debate things. Now, interestingly enough, the fact that she is actually going on to eventually blame those that are remaining silent, we'll talk more about that in a second, just goes to show you how she really is that self-centered and all caught up within herself. And the fact that she's going on that constant trope about how she deserves respect, no, you earn respect. You never deserve respect. I don't care who you are or how high of a status you are as a woman or a man, whoever. You don't deserve respect, you earn it. You have to earn respect. That's just how it is. Now, interestingly enough, moving on, she goes on to allude further. It's something that you have to just roll with the punches, I guess, and move on to the next project. But I feel that we could have done so much better with this season if we didn't rush things. There were tons of studio politics involved, but for now, I will leave that there. I just hope one day people will wake up to being so judgmental and change their lives. And also for the silent majority to not be so afraid to come forward, because I don't think it's just social media to blame for the toxicity and negativity, but also those in hiding refraining from sharing their positive, authentic thoughts about a project, in this case with my series at Netflix, and that's also the problem. So guys, let me stop there again. The fact that she's not only blaming critics and negative comments out there as to why this show, it truly is a bomb, by the way, but she's also now blaming the silent majority, quote unquote, which doesn't really exist. Let's be very real about that. There's really nobody really tuning into this show to begin with, so there's really no silent majority out there at all. And again, I mean, when you put yourself in the shoes of Ted Sarandos, right, it makes you wonder, what on earth is he thinking when it comes to allowing her to essentially come up with multiple one-off projects? And I've said this many times, she's got something on Ted. We can say the obvious, but we're never going to know exactly what the truth behind that really is. And we probably will never learn about that. But again, I think that Ted Sarandos is only, dissolving his credibility as a CEO of Netflix until the board members that support him shy away from him. He's going to remain as CEO. He's going to remain to call the shots, unfortunately, and that's just the reality of the situation. And you would also think that the last thing you would want to do right now is to focus so much on With Love Meghan Season 2 in the midst of promoting things like Stranger Things or other series out there like Squid Game, etc., etc. And that really is why a lot of people are leaving this platform and heading to others out there, whether it's HBO Max or Peacock, whatever it is. That's why you have a lot of people abandoning ship, essentially. But overall, I mean, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about this whole fiasco with Meghan Markle, Ted Sarandos, and her view of the general public and their reaction towards Season 2 and the blame game. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.